And let's get another check of weather with our chief meteorologist, Dan Cianca. Dan, just like that event, they're adjusting to those rain that we've been talking about for the last couple days.
Yeah, and it's I know we're on a weekend tomorrow, but it's something you really need to pay attention to because there are quite a few hazards that could occur in your neighborhood tomorrow. So let's get into this weather forecast, starting with a live look from Domenico's on the wharf tonight. We can feel the energy in the air ahead of our storm system. It's been raining on and off for the last 2 days, and this rain associated with an atmospheric river that's just pointed to our north along the California coastline. You can see the ripples in the water there in Monterey. We have southerly winds which have been coming through and keeping a very warm air mass in place. Temperatures are in the 60s this hour in many places across the central coast. So it's warm. This is the warm before the storm. If you want to get technical, we are in what's called a warm air advection regime at the moment with quite a bit of warm, moist air out of the south ahead of the storm system that's coming in. And there are a lot of other things that will be causing us some hazards in the next 24 hours. One of them is the flood risk. And look, I mean, I know we've been talking about the fact that we're in a drought, and we still are in a drought, which may be hard to believe because it does factor in a lot of different types of things like groundwater and things like that. But flooding is a real possibility tomorrow. We had heavy rain earlier this week and it had flooding. I mean, there was a lot of flooding in the northern Salinas Valley. There were a few flood spots in Santa Cruz County and elsewhere as well. But we had all that rain. It hasn't dried out since, and in the days since, it's rained on and off, and we're going to see more heavy rain tomorrow for a few hours anyway. So the types of flooding we could see, we still have that risk of debris flows in our fire areas. So if you live below those, you certainly could see some mud. If you are driving tomorrow, certainly expect water on the roadways. Certainly expect drains to be clogged and ponding on the roadways. Farm fields typically don't handle a lot of this water, and that's not the case in all locations, but we've seen issues with the fields getting kind of flooded, the ditches filling up with sediment, and next thing you know, it's on the farm roads, and you can't drive through these areas. And then even some creeks may be overwhelmed by the amount of water coming down, especially in Santa Cruz County, where it's just been going and will continue going overnight. So if you live near a creek, you might see some high water tomorrow. We're going to be watching the rivers. I'm not expecting any major river flooding, but the San Lorenzo and even maybe the Big Sur River will get pretty high tomorrow. So if you live down very low along either of those rivers, that's something also to keep in mind. So that's the flooding threats. We also have the wind threats. Winds aren't going to be extreme tomorrow, but they will be gusty. And these gusty winds are encountering trees that are already drought stressed, in some cases maybe dead or diseased, so are weak. And on top of that, because the soil is now quite moist and saturated, the root systems no longer have the support that they would typically have, so it's easier for them to topple over. We've actually had quite a few trees down just across Santa Cruz County today with only light winds for the most part and just this moderate rain. So all of these factors come into play tomorrow, and we'll have, I think, quite a few power outages in the Santa Cruz Mountains, blocked roadways, things like that. It'll be the case elsewhere as well. Winds will happen across the viewing area, but they will be the strongest on the coast in Santa Cruz County, the outer coast of Monterey County over the ridge tops. We'll get some winds funneling in the valleys as well, but not as extreme in those other places that I mentioned. So this light rain is going to continue in the coastal mountains overnight as this edge of the atmospheric river gets close to us. You can see this huge plume of clouds. That is the atmospheric river itself, and then we have an area of low pressure right here, which is actually going to push through and kind of move it all through tomorrow with the gusty winds. So it's still a ways out, but it will be coming through tomorrow morning. So let's talk about FutureCast and when that's going to happen. Winds will slowly pick up overnight. Light rain will continue in the coastal mountains overnight, and we could get some showers elsewhere, but it's really the rain machine is just going to keep going in the coastal mountains. The actual front itself will likely be here late morning tomorrow. So here it is around 11 a.m., filling in around the Monterey Bay area. And along this front, I expect moderate to heavy rain, and most areas are going to get a couple hours of this as it passes by. So we're talking rainfall rates, up to 1/3 of an inch an hour, maybe a little bit higher than that in the coastal mountains, and that's enough to cause drains to be overwhelmed and small ditches and creeks to be overwhelmed, okay, especially after a couple of hours of it. It'll slowly move to the south and east as we head into the afternoon. This is noon tomorrow. Along with it, the winds will die down a little bit, but behind it, we'll have gusty northwesterly winds. They won't be as strong, and they will be colder, but they won't be as strong as the southerly winds ahead of it. And notice by 4 p.m., we're still just looking at some light showers out here. And then by 6, 7 o'clock, we're pretty much done. So as we head into your New Year's Eve, the actual eve portion of it, I'm not expecting any rain to be falling anymore. However, we still may be dealing with the consequences of what had happened earlier in the day with any flooding, with down trees, power lines, power outages, and things like that. So you should be prepared, especially in those coastal mountains, to be, separated from society for a little while, whether that's because the power is out or your road is blocked, because I think we're going to have some issues with that tomorrow. All right, so let's talk about beyond that. We're going to go quickly and look at rainfall totals in between now and then. I think the model's a little bit low. I still think we're going to get 3 to 6 inches between now and tomorrow in the mountains. On top of that, for cities around the bay, we should get at least an inch. On the north side of the bay, we'll probably add 2 to maybe 3 more inches from the Santa Cruz to Watsonville corridor by the time everything is said and done. Inland valleys may be a little bit dry, especially the Salinas valleys. You're going to be dealing with some rain shadowing. All right, let's quickly look at your temperatures. And here's the interesting part of our temperatures today. Notice the overnight lows are very close to tomorrow's highs, and that's because basically by late morning tomorrow, we'll continue to see that southerly wind, which will be continuously bringing that warm air into the region. Then the cold front will arrive, and after that, we're just going to cool down. So in many cases, our overnight lows really, the temperature is just going to be kind of stable until the cold front gets here, and then we're going to cool down after that when we would normally be seeing our highs. So 57 overnight for a high in Davenport, and you're back to 57 for your high tomorrow. In some cases, you might see a couple degrees difference. Santa Cruz, 58, your high. Same in Capitola. Salinas should get to 60, same in Hollister. Watsonville, 59. Most areas dipping only into the 50s overnight. Over to the peninsula, 60 in Monterey and Seaside, upper 50s for your lows. And then farther south, again, we'll see highs in the 60s, but tomorrow evening is going to be cold. We've been acting into the 40s for most locations by the time the New Year's ball drops, if you will. So here's that 7-day forecast. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. We're dry on New Year's Day. Another system brings rain late Monday into Tuesday. And then later on in the week, it looks wet again. We could see some heavy rain later in the week. It's hard to tell exactly when that's going to happen just yet, but a couple systems back to back, I think, by the end of the week. Inland area is also dry on New Year's Day. More rain Monday to Tuesday, and another system or two later on in the week, Anna.
All right, thanks so much for that, Dan.